Welcome back everyone to another Coach Blaker's video. Today we're gonna be watching what bad ADCs must learn. This is a skill cap video. The link in the video will be in the description below. Feel free to watch that on your own time. This is my Is It Clickbait series. This is the series where I watch these videos that you guys send me. Let me know in the comments below or send it to my Discord. And I go over these videos and we watch them together and we go over Is It Clickbait. I've been coaching for going on 9 years and I've played every single role, every single champion. I have each role have their own accounts so that way I climb them. You guys can see the progress. I really enjoy what I do and I really enjoy coaching players and making them better. And what hurts my heart the most is when people make videos that don't really teach you anything but waste all your time. So the Is It Clickbait series is meant for that. Now this isn't to BM companies, this isn't to BM YouTube creators, this isn't to BM anything. This is just to let you guys know fact from fiction and to help you guys improve on your journey. If you guys are interested in coaching, CoachBlaker.com is where you want to go. Use the code FIRST, that way you get $5 off your first purchase. CoachBlaker.com, link in the description below. Let's go.
It's a blessing when you actually get to win lane as an ADC player. The early game is when you have the least agency out of any role, so getting into the mid game with a lead is the perfect setup to carry your games.
Now when he says the least agency of any role, he's not wrong, it is. But that doesn't mean you don't have agency. Remember that, okay? So when you guys play ADC and you guys are like, well, I don't have any agency, that doesn't mean you can't do anything. You have the least of every single role, but you can still impact your early game. Don't let that confuse you. It's worded like you don't really have any, but trust me, you got some.
But then something inevitably goes wrong. You're one shot by the enemy Akali anyway, your lead is gone, and it feels like you could do nothing about it,
True.
Right?
Facts.
What Skill Cap sees on a regular basis is that although ADC players may sometimes get a lead during the lane phase, around 90% of the time, they make a game-losing mistake within just 2 minutes of breaking the bot tower.
True.
Some of the decisions that throw their leads are absolutely ridiculous. So in this guide, we'll be testing you to see if you make the same common mistakes we see all the time.
Okay.
Are you an ADC that throws their lead?
Maybe.
Or do you actually know how to snowball the game? Let's find out. Our first replay features the Queen Marksman of winning lane, Caitlyn. At around the 17-minute mark, it seems that the laning phase has been going on for long enough. Caitlyn's team does what every one of us dreams about. They actually come to help her kill the enemy bot lane to help take the tower. She ends up getting a huge shutdown, destroys the structure, and is now in a prime position to carry. But here's what happens next. Everyone on Caitlyn's team rotates towards the dragon and does it together. At the same time, the enemy team took the Rift Herald by cross-mapping while Caitlyn's whole team was busy down there. We'll just go ahead and let you know that staying here to do the dragon with everyone was definitely a mistake. Not only did Caitlyn know that 2 of the enemy members were dead, but she's also aware of where 2 others are. It feels like at Skill Capped we cover this all the time, but you really cannot afford to be wasting your time doing something that you don't need to. If your jungler is capable of soloing the dragon and can do it uncontested, then do something else to be more efficient with your time. Instead, she's behind on tempo now. Let's go back to the moment where she made the wrong choice. Right after killing bot and taking the tower, what do you think Caitlyn's best option is? First, take a look at the information available. Here's her items and the amount of gold that she has at the moment. We see both Graves and Aurelia pushing in the top and mid towers. And although Rek'Sai is taking these Krugs beside her, the Blue and Gromp are both up in her own jungle. Perhaps those are worth investing time into in order to acquire more gold. So, which would you choose? A. Cross-map the bottom lane tower with your team, since most of the opponents are either dead or visible on the map.
Nope.
B. Take a recall and go defend to either top or mid.
Yep.
Or C. Take Rek'Sai's jungle camps as she does the dragon to get some extra gold.
Okay, so first off, cross-mapping like that only works when you have an actual team that understands what they're doing. As he even just said in this video, it's even crazy how they even ganked bot lane. So the fact that they might listen to that call is probably false. That probably won't work. Option number 3, the C. The thing about taking the jungler's camps, don't do that. Do that later into the game. Let your jungler, especially something that is snowball heavy like Rek'Sai, continue to build their lead as well, just with their own jungle camps. B is sketch. First of all, you're not saving any of those towers. They're gonna go down, they're super low. What you can do is defend the second tower. Now you have to be careful because both of these laners can just straight up all in and kill you. The one that can do with the least is Graves, right? So I'd probably just defend top while my bot lane can then rotate, well not bot lane, but the people down there can then rotate into defending the second tower. So that way I don't have to worry about it. So pretty much, if you guys can see my mouse, I'm pretty sure you guys can, I'd recall, go top, defend the second tower here, and then my bot lane could just, or anybody that's down there can then rotate, defend mid. There you go. You can't defend these 2 towers, don't take your camps, and then obviously I wouldn't do that because your team might not listen to you. Very sketch. You might even overstay. So I wouldn't do any of those. But let's see what they say. Let's see.
Let's break down the wrong answers first, starting with A. Although Caitlyn wasn't aware that her opponents had taken Herald yet, you should generally assume that the enemy team will cross-map an objective when your team commits to one side of the map. Staying here with this many of her allies is not worth the risk that her opponents take Herald and push significantly faster than she ever could.
That's not a reason to recall, but that's a reason for high elo. That's not a reason for low elo. This cross mapping and stuff like that, like if you guys are trying to climb to just diamond, that's not something you really have to worry too much about. Although it's really important, most people that play this game don't want to get to Master, Grandmaster, and Challenger. So like that type of thing isn't what you should be thinking about. The simple version is I need to defend because I don't have to be here. Has nothing to do with cross mapping, has nothing to do with the Rift Herald. I should not be here because there's nothing to do. Let me recall. Pretty much that's it. Once again, that answer is right, just on a real high elo spectrum. And it requires teamwork, and the enemy has to know what they're doing. And a lot of times you guys know the enemy team has no clue what the hell they're doing anyway, right?
Not only that, but that would force her team to be sharing only one lane of farm and tower gold, which is worse than her opponents farming 2 lanes. And that's if they can even take this tower in the first place.
That's what I
before
say.
the enemy bot respawns.
Yeah, exactly.
To put it simply, this is a horrible answer.
Nope.
Looking back on option C, this should immediately be a red flag in your eyes.
Yep.
Even if the play was technically correct, which it is not, taking your jungler's camps as you leave them to solo dragon is asking to get flamed and griefed for the rest of the game.
Not really,
Not
but
worth
it's just
it
putting
at
them
all.
behind.
So
So it's
by
not
process
worth.
of elimination, looking back at her choices, the answer ended up being B. Almost every single replay we'll cover in this guide has this exact mistake from every ADC. They take tower and refuse to base with the significant amount of gold that they've earned. It may sound really obvious, but if there's nothing important in close proximity to you after you take tower, then just base and spend your gold. You'll see how big of a problem this is the entire guide. In this
That
case,
goes for every
Caitlyn
role,
had
not
more
just
than enough
ADC.
gold to complete her dagger
Every
and
role.
zeal, and then pick up another component on top of that. The ideal play this game would be to base, buy some items, and then go defend either top or mid.
It would be top,
Afterwards,
not
she
mid.
could siege
I rarely
whichever
would
lane
dive.
she chose with her significant item advantage.
You also wouldn't
Instead,
shove
she
up
ended
like
up
that
staying
either.
out on the map with way too much gold. This caused her to just sit in mid with her Veigar, unable to pressure anything. They're both either too low.
Yeah, see, the thing is, the people at Dragon will rotate to mid, whereas if we go top, we can defend top because we're already recalling, and then yeah, that's what you should have done.
On health or too weak from not buying items to do anything. By idling around doing nothing, her opponents just placed Herald in top, taking the inner tower completely for free.
So I don't like this because the way that they worded it, they already knew what was going to happen. And I think that's a form of clickbait where it's like, oh, you're teaching me something new. Oh, but you already knew it was going to happen. Therefore, if you make the video and knowing what's going to happen, you seem like extra smart. And like, that's not what it is. The thing you have to realize is if there's nothing to do, recall, go do something else. That's literally all this whole explanation is about, is I got my tower, they can solo dragon because their enemy's dead, let me recall and go defend. It's not as complicated as they make this seem.
And almost killing the inhibitor tower on top of that. She went from the dream scenario of getting a 4-man dive in bot to losing complete control of the game in under 2 minutes from one silly decision.
The game isn't lost, she can still have control of the game. It just sucks that happened.
Alright, let's take a look at another example. In this game, the Jinx gets a lead just like the previous Caitlyn and manages to take the bot lane tower. As we said though, she commits the exact same mistake as the previous Caitlyn and refuses to recall to spend her gold for a while. She just sits in lane.
I don't know what that's
not
about.
really doing anything. These are gold to platinum replays, by the way. We're not cherry picking some ridiculous bronze examples. It really is this bad. Somehow, this wasn't the biggest error we'll be looking at from Jinx, though. She refuses to base.
I want to
sitting
see how
on a
much
mountain of
gold.
And it ends up rotating towards the center
How
of
much
the
gold
map.
does she have?
This is because her Master Yi is starting the Rift Herald, and she wants to sync up with her team to fight the objective. But right before she gets to the action, her Yi gets ulted by the enemy Malphite and instantly killed. Based on what you've seen, what do you think you'd do at this moment? A. Back off and take the jungle camps in the area since her jungler is dead. B. Push mid and take the exposed tower while the enemy team does Herald. C. Commit to the fight since vital enemy spells are on cooldown. Or D. Base and spend all the gold Jinx is sitting on.
I would just rotate bot and go spend. You're not pushing up mid, and even if you do, your team can actually do that by themselves. You don't have to do that with your team. Although it would be kind of nice to do it, you're still at a disadvantage of a 5v4. I honestly wouldn't have even called that fight for Rift Herald because I know I didn't spend. So even if I were there, I wouldn't have got it. I just would have stayed bot, told them to ping back because I messed up. I should have backed on time, and then therefore I would have been at that fight on time. Because I made that mistake, I should rectify. Rectify? I should realize that I made that mistake and, you know, rectify it by compensating for the fact that I made that mistake and go down bot and just continue to farm. I messed up. Y'all get repelled for free. My bad. That's pretty much what you should be thinking about in this situation. Definitely not C. You don't ever fight a 5v4, especially if you're fed as AD carry. You don't need to recall. Do some stuff on the map. You could take the jungle camps, but if your jungler just died, realistically, he's probably behind again. So taking his camps is kind of screwy. Graves can walk in and take his camps too if you don't take them, but it's very risky. I would just leave it for my jungler because I know he's behind. I would just rotate bot, like I said. All these options suck. Just saying. But let's see. Let's see.
Any single one of these answers besides C was a completely fine option. You're not always going to make the best play possible in every game, but you need to recognize when something is bad and to immediately get out.
Yes, that's what I just said. I didn't say it like that, but that's what I just said. None of those options were good at all, but she should have just rotated bot because she screwed up. So you get the most out of the play by going bot, taking the wave, the next wave, and potentially bot tower. D in recalling is bad. You literally just lost the play for no reason. B, you're pushing up mid, in which case they could just rotate and kill all you guys. And then A, taking the jungle, like I said, I mean, it's possible, but if the dude's behind, why put him more behind? Your jungler, especially Master Yi, still needs to scale into the game. I think that all those answers were not right.
Take a look at
but I do think that he's right about if it's a screwed play, it's a screwed play. It doesn't even matter.
Scoreboard. The game is basically dead even, but Jinx hasn't based yet, as we've talked about. So they're not only down a member, but she's technically not even strong because she's sitting on around 2,000 gold with them.
Exactly, and I already said that because of the fact that before, when she was down at bot, you know that you didn't spend, yet you're trying to go to a fight. Stay down there. You might as well. You screwed up. Just stay bot, maybe farm enemy camps. You know the whole team is top side. You're safe to farm bot, push up a tower, stuff like that. So
when you have a lead and a bounty on your head, you cannot afford to make these kinds of mistakes. Again, we will say that if Jinx had spent her gold before coming here, that she'd potentially be able to carry this 4v5. But with the way things were, the actual lesson here is to spam back pings on your teammates when they commit to something stupid. Then don't hesitate and just fall back to do literally anything else which could be useful.
Exactly.
Not making the best play is infinitely better than making a game losing one.
Hey, this Jinx is cracked though.
Within 2 minutes of taking the tower, the ADC has once again thrown
Hey, that Jinx was cracked though.
Moving on to our final replay, let's take a look at a typical Draven game. He's absolutely stomping the lane phase and manages to take the tower by 12 minutes. Not only that, but the blue team takes their second dragon right after, putting them on track to get the Infernal Dragon Soul very early into the game.
Okay, the maxes.
It's fair to say that if Draven is good, this game should be in the bag. But instead of asking a gameplay-specific question this time
is he
around,
good? That's
we're instead going to talk about the mindset this player should have to close out the game. These are the compositions on both sides. It's fair to say that
comps don't matter, okay? You don't want to fight as a team if you can help it. If you guys can just win without actually 5v5ing, do that. Especially if you're snowballing, there shouldn't really be any 5v5s, period. But team comp doesn't really matter as much. When it gets to the mid to late game, where like, most games do get to the mid game, but like the late game where it's like everybody has like 5 or 6 items, we're starting to rotate as a squad, that's when team comps kind of matter a little bit more, and you guys have to have a little bit more macro focus on what to do during that game. But team comps for the early, nobody care about that. Nobody even plays as a team, let's be honest. Even in high elo, nobody cares.
That the red team has a great
it's all about whoever can
both in damage
whoever
and
can
control.
freaking
Things could get hairy if the game goes on too long. Therefore, what mindset should Draven have in regards to closing out this game? A. Should he play aggressively with his lead and look
play for objectives, and you will end up closing out the game faster than they can scale? I really don't want to watch that part.
Generally do. They just sit at their towers playing safe, right? That's the only choice they really have most of the time. Winning teams will oftentimes throw their leads by playing overly aggressive at their opponent's towers.
That's true.
In most random fights like these, the losing team can often have the edge, despite their gold deficit.
That's true too.
They'll have the tower to provide assistance, while usually having more players in the area defending.
That's true too.
That's because when you're losing, you generally play in less area of the map, huddled together defending your base, whereas the winning team is more spread out, at least in solo queue. Therefore, it will usually take less time for defenders to react to a fight. Let's go back to the game at hand and take a look at how this Draven plays aggressively.
So he's fine.
Sion just died in top, his volley bear is clearing his jungle, and the Cassiopeia is farming some minions at her bot tower.
He's fine.
He also walks up as Taric is going to ward, leaving himself completely isolated for a moment. It's fair to say that this isn't intelligent aggression. The problem is that players feel compelled to push their leads when
Wait, that wasn't even an aggression. He just sat in lane because there's nothing else to do.
Going to ward.
Look, he's not being aggressive at all. He's just trying to get his axe stack.
Completely isolated.
That's not aggression. Okay.
For a moment.
All right. I was kind of with them throughout the video, but like that's a blatant lie. He's just getting his axes.
That this isn't intelligent.
That's not aggression
at all. The problem is that players feel compelled to push their leads when they have a gold advantage and when they see that their opponents outscale them. Although he played it relatively well, trading your flash in a risky play to get a single kill.
He didn't even have to flash for that. Okay, Draver just misplayed. Like, he could have played that better. If he was a higher elo player, like, that wouldn't have happened, period. He would have caught that last axe. He would have then killed them right then and there off of one more auto attack. That's what it was. He didn't have to do all of that. He just felt himself a little bit, and we all do it solo queue.
Although he played it relatively well, trading your flash in a risky play to get a single kill was not worth this risk of this going poorly. But there's only so long before his luck runs out. The next time he tries the same thing, he doesn't have his...
See, that scenario was different from the last scenario. Look at this. This is aggression. The last scenario was I'm catching my axes.
Only so long before his luck...
Look at that. That's a way bigger difference, right?
Runs out.
Way bigger.
The next time he tries the same thing, he doesn't have his flash, and more of the enemy team happens to be there. He throws his lead, giving Ash a massive shutdown, and baits his own team at the same time to do the same. This will start a series of throws that eventually allows the red team to come back and win the game.
So once again, like that play right there that we just seen was just over aggression, as he said. It's just one of those things where you just get a little bit too close.
Through their scaling. This is the big reason why we generally recommend for you.
That's not why they lost the game right there, and that's not why they got outscaled. There was a lot more to the game. They could have been playing more around objectives. I'm not gonna say that didn't help, but that death right there does not. That's not why this man lost the game. I promise you. That's a bold-faced lie. That's a bold-faced lie. Anyway. Alright, so for the most part, bro, what we've established is that... What was the first clip so I can remember? What we established is if the jungler doesn't need you to take the dragon, recall, go do something else. The second clip was if a fight is doomed, go leave and do something else. The third clip is don't overstep. We needed 12 minutes to explain that. That simple. Like I said, this is why I do them. Because a lot of you guys, when you're searching for help, when you need help, and it's understandable, but when you need help, everything looks enticing. Everything looks like, oh my gosh, I didn't know this information. This is crazy. So much knowledge. And then you try to apply it to your games and you realize, why doesn't this work? I try everything. I watch all these guides. I watch my replays and none of this works. You know a lot of the stuff that you already are watching and you're looking for. You know this. It's okay. You know it already. It's applying it. That's the issue, right? So because we're so focused on I'm having a hard time and I'm trying to get better, I look at anything and everything. All the knowledge is soaked into my head. That's not how you climb. Someone who knows a little knowledge but actually knows how to apply the knowledge that they know is going to climb a lot better than someone who knows all this knowledge and doesn't know how to apply it at all. And that's why coaching is a good option. If you feel like you're really struggling on applying these type of this type of knowledge, that's where it comes into play. And honestly, it doesn't have to be a coach. It could be a friend. They can look at your stuff and tell you kind of how to apply it. It could be a mentor, someone you look up to, stuff like that. It doesn't actually have to be a coach, but obviously people who have a coach climb faster typically. But anyway, so once again, let's just kind of recap. The first thing was if the jungler doesn't need you and they're doing an objective like dragon or something, go do something else. It's very easy. The second thing that you could have done, which was the second clip, was just if a fight looks doomed, we just leave. I didn't spend and someone died already. That is what it is, bro. I messed up. Let me go bot. Let me go do something. The third one is just don't overstep and play for objectives. I don't know why we didn't focus on playing for objectives because he didn't lose because he happened to walk up. I feel like that's a blatant lie. That's just something to help finish this compilation of what bad ADCs do. But it was the fact that we didn't play for objectives. As you see, they had 4 dragons, which means they could have gotten soul. They must have done something to lose that 4th dragon because the enemy team had 1 dragon as well. So our team had 4, their team had 1. Therefore, that means that we missed out on an opportunity. And I don't think it was because of that specific play. I don't even think Dragon was up when he died. It wasn't. So he didn't lose. Nothing happened because of this. play. And in lower elo, typically you can make a fat mistake and it just not affect your game because it's lower elo. They don't know how to capitalize on it. We still have a pretty big lead. We can still make a really good play for these dragons, and we just ended up missing one. And then obviously we didn't play for maybe Rift Herald, and we didn't play for maybe Baron. So there's a lot more to this game on why we lost it, not just the fact that, oh, I overstepped. Whether or not you overstepped here, you would have lost the game if your team didn't get any objectives, period, and you got outscaled. That has nothing to do with stuff. Anyway, thank you guys for watching. I do appreciate it. I'm gonna rate this clip this video we're gonna say a D to a C minus. I think that there's a couple of things that what he was saying it made sense. It wasn't bad or anything like that. It was understandable, but there was just a lot of mumbo jumbo added in for no apparent reason when you could have just simply said what was in the clip instead of like making up crazy scenarios and going out. But of course, it's for entertainment. That's why you guys watch this stuff. So once again, thank you guys for watching. If you guys are interested in coaching, coachblakey.com is where you want to go, and use the code FIRST if you guys would like a $5 off your first session. Thank you guys for watching. Till next time, you know what I always say, thank you for doing what? Approaching this like a coach.